Welcome back, sci-fi fans. This is Greg from Greg Reviews Sci-Fi. And as an 80s child, I'm particularly excited about this movie and about this review. You guessed it, Ready Player One. Before we get started, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to this channel. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram. Greg Reviews Sci-Fi everywhere. Hit the little bell so you get notified when I have new videos, and you can stay up to date what I'm watching or reading and reviewing. All right, now let's get into this. So to kick off this video, I just wanted to say I have not read the book. I stuck to my guns, and I picked a medium. Medium? Yeah, that's right. Medium. So as you know, if you watch my Altered Carbon review, I read the book and I watched the show, and I think that since I like the book so much, it hurt the show. So I wanted to see this movie pure, and considering a lot of the references are visual, the 80s references, I thought the movie would be the best place. So that's what I did. And I watched it in 3D because, man, as you can see, I look so good in these 3D glasses. Time to see Ready Player One.
Wait, so how many of us are there?
Let's talk about the book for just a second. It's an Ernest Cline book, and it was published in 2011. Now, you might not think this is relevant, but I think it's pretty relevant because when you write about the future, you have to take into account when it was published, right? So if you read a book that was published in the 60s and it's talking about the future, you can give it a pass on technology that isn't even in the realm of possibility. They just thought it up, right? Like in Ringworld. I mean, epic technology think up, if that's a thing, right? Invention of technology. So this book, 2011, I expect some pretty epic technology. And I do not think Ready Player One achieved epic technology levels. As a matter of fact, I was pretty disappointed in the technology itself. So let's talk about real quick the things that I did not like about this movie. So Halliday is the creator of this virtual reality game, I guess you could call it, simulation, called the Oasis. And he owns this gaming company called Gregarious Games. And he had a partner named Og that they had a breakup. And I don't want to give you any spoilers if you haven't seen it because, you know, it makes a difference. But there was a girl involved, not in the breakup, but kind of underpinnings of the story. Anyway, I did not like how they portray Halliday as this all-knowing, all-genius, I can do it myself person, when he then becomes the richest person in the world, and then they portray the bad guy as this monster who wants to take over Oasis for monetary gains. So the bad guy, Nolan Sorrento, is played by Ben Mendelsohn. And Sorrento is this capitalist that wants to, it's like an over-stylized capitalist that wants to put logos like all over the visual display and sell all the real estate when you're playing Oasis. But what irritates me is that Halliday becomes the richest person in the world somehow. So he monetized it also. And I would say the movie is really stopping. It's either poor monetization with logos all over the screen or pay-to-play monetization that Halliday set up. We've all played these pay-to-win, free-to-play, pay-to-win games. And that's what Halliday the Great set up. And, it's, to me, that's kind of a, I think that's a weird part of the movie. Like, I would have much rather seen the protagonist, who we'll get into in a minute, try to, free the people from their enslavement in this oasis, which is what it really feels like to me. But that's not what the movie's about. So the movie is about Wade Watts, who is played by Ty Sheridan, who you probably remember from X-Men. He was Cyclops. He's been in a bunch of stuff. I thought it was cast really well. And Wade essentially is in this game to win the prize. And the prize is Oasis. And the whole premise of this movie is that Halliday dies, and instead of giving his company over to someone who can actually run it and make it better and keep all of his employees employed, and I don't know if he's got shareholders, or instead of doing that, he decides to have a contest and give it his company and control of Oasis to some random person. And of course, that drives the populace of the world to try and win this game at all costs. At all costs means in the real world they do crazy things. In the virtual world, in Oasis, they do crazy things. And it all turns out, crazy. In Oasis, Wade Watts is called Parzival. And they go by screen names, I guess, just like you would in any game. Anyway, he meets Artemis, which is this woman who is also trying to win, and they both kind of have a love of holiday and 80s, and they do all this studying, and they end up, no spoiler, joining forces to try to win this game. Artemis is played by Olivia Cooke, which I think is the standout performer in this movie. I mean, she just owns it. Not only in regular acting, which she was really good and came off as vulnerable and cute when she needed to be, but in the game, her voice acting was really incredible. It was probably the most natural of anyone in the movie. Where I think this movie really falls down is the technology. So this thing was released in 2011. You should be able to think of crazy technologies. I mean, they're still attaching to bungees to the ceiling and running on treadmills that go all different directions. And this is technology that exists today, not 30 years in the future. I mean, I saw something like this on Shark Tank. I don't know. To me, it just made it to where it just wasn't believable. Plus, they were a suit for force feedback, and then the Sorrento guy has got this chair, right? He's got this chair that you don't even know. It doesn't have a treadmill. It doesn't have bungees. It's supposed to be like the next generation of technology, but you don't know if it's like brain interface or whatever. It doesn't show the technology, the connection to Oasis is so bad that it hurts the movie. I mean, this is VR, not AR. This is not augmented reality. So you can't put on the headset and jump around in your living room. If you jump around in your living room, you trip over the sofa, you can't go anywhere in Oasis. You just run right into the walls. But that's not how it's shown. It's not an augmented reality where it's the format of the world. I mean, they show in the opening scene of the movie where they describe Oasis, you can play in Minecraft worlds and you can surf giant waves. You're not going to do that if you're tripping over your couch in your crappy apartment or your motorhome stacked 10 motorhomes high. If you've seen the movie, you understand what I'm saying. It was totally not believable and just bad. So I gave that 1.5 stars. The only thing I can hope is that in the book, it's way, way better, and the adaptation to film was just bad. Because we can do that today. We could create Oasis currently today with technology. in 30 years, we're going to be able to do amazing things. But I don't want you to think that I hated the movie, because I actually really liked the movie. But just not because of the reasons that I think you would normally like a movie, right? Not for the, the special effects were good, but they weren't as good as Avatar, and that movie's old. But they were good enough. It was very video game-like. And in that part, I think it was fun. But the 80s references, well, all the references, 80s, 90s, I mean, there were Halo references. The references were unbelievable. They were great. It's so much fun to look around and go, oh, hey, that's, Halo, or oh, there's the Green Lion from Voltron, or there's a Gundam. Super fun. And I think what it's going to help me do is I'm going to try to find some of these references of stuff I haven't seen, and I'm going to go see it. So I really love that about this movie. It is so fun. And that is the reason you go and see movies, is to be entertained. Like, I watch all these, the Star Wars movies or the Star Trek movies that don't follow the canon, and people are all bent out of shape, and, everybody's like, why? How does, when Luke disappears, like, how does he take his metal hand, right? Like, if you're entertained, like, forget about that stuff. And that's Ready Player One in a nutshell. Just ignore the bungees and the stupid treadmill or whatever, and look at the references, because even the storyline is a layup. I mean, it's so basic. I mean, have a game that has 3 keys, that whoever wins 3 keys wins all of Oasis. I mean, do you even need to see the movie to understand what's going on in the plot and figure out what's going to happen? I mean, honestly, you don't even need a spoiler to figure that one out. I mean, it's not Lost, right? We're not trying to figure out what the smoke dragon is. I mean, this is basic. So, from that perspective, you don't go see it because you want a compelling plot, because it's not compelling. Very basic. So overall, I gave this movie 3.8 or a little over 3.5 stars. And, the story, 3.5 stars. The cast, I gave 4.5. I thought the cast was great. Spielberg, always amazing. Spielberg's always amazing. So 4.5 stars. Costumes, I kind of mix in the art with the costumes on a movie that's like half animated like this movie is. So I gave it 4.5 stars. Where this thing gets beat up is technology, 1.5 stars. I should have gave it 0 stars. Now that I'm thinking about this, like, the book I hope is better, because it's so bad, this stupid technology. Originality, 4. I gave it 4 stars. It's pretty original. I think that there's probably a lot of books and a lot of B-list movies out there that have the same premise, but overall, I think it was good. If you can see this in 3D, see it in 3D. It's great on the big screen, but rent it when it comes out, right? You don't have to take the whole family. It may not be worth $50 to take the whole family, but it's definitely worth $8 to rent it, or $1 from Redbox. I mean, really, really good. Very entertaining. You'll probably want to own it just so that you can rewatch it and pause it and look at the surrounding areas. It's really epic. I mean, I was watching online and I saw that, the front of the DeLorean that Parsifal drives had the Knight Rider little red thing in the front. I mean, come on. I didn't even see that the first time. I saw that on somebody else's vlog. Super, super cool. So anyway, check it out. Like I said before, subscribe on the channel. I'll put links to the books in the description, along with some other stuff that you might like. And hit subscribe. Follow me on social media. leave a comment. I'm happy to discuss the movie. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks for watching.